ball well to right field. It is
Adios,
high,
amigo.
It is far, and it is gone.
Holy cow.
Zane Harris crushed that one.
A long drive towards right center field, and it's gone in the trees.
Hit from Braithwaite. Swung on and missed, and the ball game is over. The Harbor Hawks have defeated the DeCouta Kettleers.
That one is a good long drive towards left field, and gone!
You're listening to the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Gov Fuller Field, Falmouth, Massachusetts, the site for today's game as the Harbor Hawks hit the road and get ready to take on the Falmouth Commodores. Austin DeCouta and Lincoln Revill here with you at the broadcast booth in Falmouth, just outside the home plate behind the fence. Today is an audio-only broadcast as we are on the road, so no video. But those of you joining us, we are happy to have you here. Lincoln, the Harbor Hawks, coming off a tough loss last night against the Chatham Anglers. What does the team have to do to bounce back?
Yeah, last night's game against the Anglers went well. I thought a couple of things to fix here and there, but the thing to win tonight is really just cutting down the number of batters we allow on base on free trips. We had a few too many walks in last night's game. A couple of key hits here and there allowed the Anglers to get that lead on us that led to that 4-1 loss. So really the key here is just to cut down on those free bases that we allow and also cutting down and just finding the zone during the game tonight.
Harbor Hawks will be coming up in just a minute as first pitch is scheduled for 6 p.m. But before they do, let's check in with our sideline reporter, Taylor Farmer. Taylor, how's it going today?
Going pretty good. How are y'all? Good. I talked to Ryan Proto before the game started. For the listeners who don't know, Ryan is from Cape Cod and grew up just a few minutes down the road from McKeon Park. He just was overjoyed to be able to play in this league this year. Just an excellent player behind the plate. We've seen how athletic and awesome that he is, and his teammates just describe him as a really hard worker. So we talked to him on just how he prides himself on being so reliable. So it's awesome to hear from him, and he'll be catching tonight. So excited to see what we'll see out of him.
Thank you very much, Taylor. Ryan, one of the two catchers here on the Harbor Hawks. Dylan Post going to be out for a little while. So it's going to be Caleb Pendleton, who we saw last night, Ryan Proto, who we are going to see tonight, Lincoln. And those two guys have done a great job. And since Proto's been in the mix, we lost Adam Hackenberg to the draft. The Chicago White Sox were lucky enough to select his services, and now Ryan Proto has stepped in, and he's been impressive.
Yeah, both Proto and Pendleton both have been just walls behind the plate so far. They've been very good behind the plate, very good at the plate as well whenever they're on the other end of the spectrum, but really they've just been doing a phenomenal job so far, and it's good to see. Even though we're a little down on the number of catchers that we have, the catchers that we do have are two very solid defenders.
The Harbor Hawks will be coming up to bat in a minute with Proto in that lineup. And Lincoln, let's take a look at the entirety of the Harbor Hawks order tonight.
Yeah, starting off for the Harbor Hawks is going to be Clark Elliott out in right field, Caden Rose behind him in center, Luke Mann in the 3-hole here tonight. He'll be the DH for the Harbor Hawks, followed by the cleanup man Zane Harris at first. Kyle Ball will be in at shortstop in the 5-hole for the Harbor Hawks, followed by Dom Johnson, the left fielder. Mason Greer, the third baseman, will be in the 7-hole, followed by Ryan Romano, and Ryan Proto will be playing catcher in the 9-hole. And then on the mound for the Harbor Hawks is going to be Jonas Scalaro.
Scalaro coming off an impressive start, his first start of the year. That was back on Tuesday at McKeon Park against the number 1 team in the West, the Bourne Braves. And Scalaro in that start went 5 innings, allowed just 1 hit, no walks, no runs, and struck out 7. He was sensational coming into tonight, Lincoln. Let's hope Scalaro can replicate that performance.
Yeah, Scalaro in his first start was, like you said, just phenomenal. One of the best starts that we've seen by the Harbor Hawks this season by far. And just a phenomenal job he did, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for us tonight.
The Commodores have taken the field as they get ready for first pitch in just a moment. Mason Pelio on the mound tonight for the Commodores as he fires away a couple warm-up pitches to Jonathan French, the Clemson catcher. He's done a terrific job as it's French behind the plate. And French we've seen this season like in a couple times, and he's hit a couple of homers against this Harbor Hawk team.
Yeah, he has. French has really just been a thorn in our side whenever we've played the Commodores, and he's just had a very, very heavy bat and every time we've seen them this season. And he's going to definitely be a dangerous hitter. It's going to be interesting to see how Scalaro can battle with him tonight.
First pitch just moments away. Clark Elliott getting ready to lead us off tonight. And Elliott's been sensational the last week or so as well, Lincoln. It's Elliott, Rose, and Mann due up, and Elliott had his first home run earlier in the week. Caden Rose had his first home run as well as part of that 12-run game against Harwich on Friday.
Yeah, Elliott and Rose have just been phenomenal in those opening 2 spots and been doing great at the plate so far in this season.
Leading off the game, the right fielder from the University of Michigan, number 25, Clark Elliott.
Elliott getting ready to lead it off against Pelio as the umpires take their positions, the fans take their seats, and the coaches head to the coaches' boxes. It's Gary Calhoun, the manager, at first. Travis Poole, the hitting coach, coaching third again, as the first pitch of the night is a called strike. A fastball at 93 on the outside corner. 0-1 the count to Elliott.
Elliott in last night's game had a single, ended 1 for 5 on the night. Had that single in the 7th inning against the Anglers last night.
He's behind in the count, 0-2, as Pelio is ahead early. We'll see if he continues with the third straight fastball or decides to go breaking pitch. He gets the signs from French. The 0-2 is popped foul out of play into the bushes. That's not going to be retrieved by any fans.
Brought to you by Supreme Pizza, located at
The count will hold at 0-2.
Highway, right here in Falmouth.
Now, Elliott's really been, like we said, he's been phenomenal at the plate. He's reached base safely in the last 7 games that he's played.
He joined the team on July 4th, was activated and started on the 5th, and has been a welcomed addition to the Harbor Hawks squad. The team leader in batting average as the 1-2 is on its way, and it's hard hit to first. A diving stop by Armstrong. He'll flip onto the pitcher, Pelio, covering for out number 1, but another ball that was scorched off the bat of Elliott.
Yeah, a very hard hit ball. A good stop there from Armstrong over at first, and a good job from Pelio to be able to head on over and get to first in time for that first out.
Now batting the center fielder from the University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa.
You know, we've seen that a lot from Elliott so far. He hits the ball very hard whenever he's at the plate, but a lot of the times it just goes right to those defenders.
He's been making a lot of contact. Doesn't strike out often, which is what you want from your leadoff man. Put the ball in play. And in comes a guy who has led off a couple of times for the Harbor Hawks. It's Caden Rose, who gets a fastball in on the hands. He checked his swing. It hit the handle of the bat. So it's a foul ball, 0-1.
Yeah, lots of oohs and ahs from the crowd. Rose brought his hands forward and then immediately just jumped them back.
The 0-1 on its way as Pelio winds up and fires a fastball by Rose. It's 0-2, and he is firing away that fastball. Another one at 94. It's got good velocity on it.
Yeah, good strong fastball. Rose had a good swing there. He was a little bit late on it and also got his bat underneath it a bit, so he's just got to catch up just a tad.
The 0-2, that one just misses. 1-2. Tough to tell where it misses from this spot. We can see up or down pretty well, but we can't see side to side. We'll give you our best bet here.
Yeah, that last pitch just missing a bit inside.
The 1-2, that one's low. 2-2 the count.
Rose has also been very good at the plate in an at-bat like this. He started out 0-2, now tied at 2-2. He's been able to battle a few times at the plate.
The 2-2 on its way, and that one's hit well to center field, or left center that is. It's a base hit. Just over the head of the shortstop, and Caden Rose has a one-out single.
Like I mentioned, he battled back, started down 0-2, was able to get even in the count at 2-2, and then he was able to loft one just over the head of Harford out at shortstop, and a good first hit for the Harbor Hawks. And now the man that you want at the plate with runners on comes up to the plate now.
Here comes the hottest hitter in the Cape, Luke Mann. He's had a homer in 2 of the last 3 games. That was on Friday against Harwich, a 3-run bomb, as well as a solo shot Wednesday against Bourne. A couple of multi-hit games for Mann. First pitch to him, he swings and hits it a mile high to right field. Moving over is Borfin, a few steps in front of the wall, makes the catch. Caden Rose thought about tagging, at least draws a throw, and there's 2 away. A nice idea by Rose to try to draw a throw there.
Yeah, it was, and a very strong hit there from Luke Mann. Looked like it was just a straight-up pop-up, but it ended up going well into right field, almost near the wall. A very strong hit ball, but it just was a bit too high.
That'll bring up Zane Harris, who's in the cleanup spot tonight and playing first base. 2 away in the inning. Caden Rose on first after a 1-out single. Zane Harris has put together some good at-bats as of late. He's raised his season on-base percentage to .340.
On-base percentage of .340, average at .212. He's been able to put some hits together in the past few games.
Talked to him before yesterday's ball game. He says he's feeling a lot better at the plate. He's seeing the ball really well as of late. The count 1-0 to the big slugger Harris as he can't connect with one at the knees. It's 1-1. Quiet crowd here at Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth. Austin DeCouta with Lincoln Revill in the booth as a pickoff move to first. It's not in time as Caden Rose dives back safely.
It's one thing we seemed to see quite a bit of last night against the Anglers. Quite a bit of throws to first, especially from both teams in that game last night.
Runner goes. The throw to second by French is offline as it skips into center field. Caden Rose moves up with his stolen base. The 6th of the season by Rose.
Rose thought about getting over to third after that ball went past second base. I think it was a smart decision to stay at second, but if he chose to go to third, I think he would have been able to get there in time. Boyers took a few seconds to reach that ball, so I think Rose would have had time to get to third if he would have chose to.
Runner in scoring position for Harris as the Harbor Hawks look to jump out to an early 1-0 lead. Caden Rose has good speed over there at second. Last time the Harbor Hawks were here at Gov Fuller Field, they picked up the win in a 5-2 effort. That was their second win of the year. It's the last time the Harbor Hawks were able to pick up a victory. 2-2 the count.
I'm going without the hat for this one, seeing how this one turns out.
2-2, 2 away. Lincoln usually has a lucky hat, but he's going to leave it to the side for now. The 2-2 to Harris. Hit a hard on the ground back towards the middle. Picked up on a hop at short. Throwing to first is in time to end the inning. Nice play by Hartford. The Harbor Hawks strand 1. The Commodores will get their first at-bats against Jonas Scalaro when we return.
It's Gary Calhoun. I'm the manager of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, and you're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Radio Network.
At third base.
Back here for the bottom of the first inning. Austin DeCouta, Lincoln Revill here with you in the booth as the Harbor Hawks take the field. Jonas Scalaro on the hill today, but let's take a look at the Falmouth Commodore lineup that Scalaro will have to do battle with. Luke Boyers leads off and plays center field. Braden Taylor, the third baseman, bats second. Jace Borfin, the right fielder, will bat third. Christopher Armstrong will be in the cleanup spot and playing first base. Taylor Smith will be batting fifth and get the start at designated hitter today. Anthony Hall, the left fielder, in the sixth spot. Michael Curiali, the second baseman, batting seventh. Batting eighth is the power-hitting catcher Jonathan French, and batting ninth is Casey Harford, the shortstop.
Number 28, Luke Boyers.
The Commodores come into this game at 8-10-2 on the year. One of those 10 losses came against the Harbor Hawks. Scalaro back on the hill after pitching in Tuesday's ball game. So 4 days rest after he threw 5 innings of work for a guy who started the year as a reliever, was a reliever at Florida State. He's been impressive this season for Hyannis. The 0-1 is a ball in the dirt, 1-1 the count. Ryan Proto will catch Scalaro once again, as I believe he did in that game that Scalaro went 5 innings.
He might have, actually. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he might have. Now going around the horn.
It was Proto.
Ah. So familiar face for Scalaro in his second start of the season.
The 1-2. Breaking ball that misses, ball 2.
Beautiful breaking pitch there from Scalaro, just missing the zone.
His fastball sits between 88 and 90 for Scalaro. Features a good breaking pitch changeup. The 2-2, that is a fastball that misses. Boyers thought about it but didn't go around. And the count is full to the leadoff man, Luke Boyers. The 3-2 on its way. Called strike 3, and Scalaro gets Boyers looking for out number 1.
Well, that at-bat went the distance, but a good job from Scalaro being able to fight back and get that first strikeout, a beautiful pitch to Boyers, and that froze him in the batter's box there.
Number 20, Braden.
Now going around the horn for the Harbor Hawks real quick, as Austin mentioned, Brian Proto at the dish as the catcher, Mason Greer out at third, Kyle Ball at short, Ryan Romano over at second, and Zane Harris over at first. That's Dom Johnson out in left, Caden Rose out in center field, and Clark Elliott out in right.
Called strike as Braden Taylor digs in. Taylor, the third baseman, comes into the ball game batting .283 with 2 homers and 12 RBI. 0-1 the count as Scalaro gets the signs from Proto, holds his glove up and winds up, and the pitch is on its way. That one's lined to center field, hit well by Taylor. Caden Rose retreats, puts his glove up, and makes the catch for out number 2.
Strong hit there from Taylor. Good job there from Rose, being able to turn very quickly on that one, head off towards the right, and end up making that grab over the shoulder for out number 2.
That'll bring up Jace Borfin, as the first 2 batters have been retired for Scalaro. First pitch to Borfin, called strike, and Scalaro, the left-handed pitcher. Borfin, the left-handed hitter. Tough matchup here in Borfin's shoes. I mean, he's going to have a tough time against Scalaro's breaking ball that is very difficult to hit for left-handers. Falmouth in their home black jerseys with maroon lettering, white pants with a maroon stripe. The Harbor Hawks in their road blues with orange lettering as Scalaro fires in a breaking ball. Borfin was over the top of that. The count is 1-2.
Yeah, like you mentioned, that breaking ball from Scalaro is just lethal to left-handed hitters like Borfin.
Borfin with 5 homers and 16 RBI on the season. Wanted to make it 6 with that one. The breaking ball is tapped foul off towards the Commodore dugout. The count will hold at 1-2. Scalaro has very good difference in his pitch speeds. The fastball about 90, the breaking ball about 75. Keeping the hitters off balance. The 1-2 on its way. Fastball flown to right field. Clark Elliott's back on it. He's still running and makes the catch few steps in front of the wall for out number 3. Jonas Scalero's scoreless streak continues as he retires the side in order in the bottom of the first. We head to the second, still scoreless on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Hi, my name is Caden Rose. I'm an infielder for the Harbor Hawks, and you're listening to the Harbor Hawk Network.
26, Kyle Ball.
Back here for the top of the second inning, it's Kyle Ball getting ready to lead off the Harbor Hawks. Ball, Johnson, Greer, 5, 6, 7 due up for Hyannis. Austin DeCouta, Lincoln Revill in the booth as Mason Pilio is back on the hill for his second inning of work for the Commodores. First pitch to Ball is a fastball. That misses for a ball. 1-0. A ball to ball.
Ball.
Kyle Ball, the Stetson shortstop, has been very consistent in the Harbor Hawks lineup all season long. He's played in 19 games out of the 21. 13 walks, leads the Harbor Hawks. He's been an on-base machine. The 1-1 to Ball is a fastball. 2-1.
Ball, in the last time we played the Commodores, ended up reaching base twice. He walked twice. Also had a ground out, fly out, and a strikeout in that time. The ground out was a 4-6-3 double play.
The 2-1 from Pilio. That one gets away from him. It misses. 3-1. 13 walks, as mentioned, for Kyle Ball on the season, looking to make it 14 and get this inning started for Hyannis. It's important for the leadoff man to get on. Last time the Harbor Hawks were here, they were able to score 4 in the first inning, which helped their pitchers get comfortable on the hill and ended up propelling them to a 5-2 lead as Kyle Ball takes ball 4 and draws a leadoff walk.
Yep. Ball doing a good job watching that ball go high and reaching base on balls. Another base runner for the Harbor Hawks now. They had 1 in the first and now 1 in the second.
It'll bring up Dom Johnson, who gets the start in left field today. We saw him in last night's ball game in right field. He was 1 for 2 with a single and 2 for 3 rather, with 2 singles and a walk. As Johnson gets a hold of that one high and deep to left field, and it is gone! The second home run of the season for Dominic Johnson is a 2-run shot to left, which gives Hyannis an early 2-0 lead.
Like you said, Austin, he got every inch of that ball, and that just shows what kind of power Johnson has. He had one out to right field earlier on this season. Now he's got one out to left, and he's doing a great job of just being able of just hitting it everywhere he can.
The 2-run home run for Johnson silences the Falmouth dugout early in this ball game, and a big home run to get ahead early. RBI number 5 and 6 on the year for Johnson. Still nobody out here in the second. Mason Greer digs in. He's ahead in the count 1-0.
Another chance for power here for the Harbor Hawks. As we saw last night, Greer had some power in BP.
He drives that one on the ground to second, picked on a hop and thrown on to first in time. Curiali is able to make that play with ease for out number 1.
Way to put the ball in play from Greer. He just rolled over the top of it a bit, and a good play from Curiali being able to get to that one and toss it over to first for that first out.
In steps Ryan Romano, who's back at second base tonight after making a couple of starts at third. He was great over at third base for the Harbor Hawks. First pitch to Romano. An off-speed pitch which finds the zone 0-1. Romano was 0 for 4 last night, unfortunately. I'd like to bounce back here. He did have a pair of hits on Friday against Harwich.
I was just about to mention that against Harwich. He reached base 3 times, a pair of doubles, and also got hit by a pitch. Out in the field, as we mentioned, he's been at third base the past couple of games. He's been outstanding there. I mentioned last night he was like an octopus, being able to just reach everything that came his way.
Breaking pitch that's a little bit too low to make contact with the count 1-2. Romano in danger of going down on strikes. Pelio's done a nice job of bouncing back since the home run. The 1-2 swung on and missed, and Romano goes down swinging for out number 2.
That's the first strikeout on the night for Pelio. As with 2 away now, Ryan Proto comes up to the plate.
Ryan Proto.
And with 2 away, that brings up the catcher, Ryan Proto. As mentioned, Proto, one of 2 catchers on the active roster for Hyannis, along with Caleb Pendleton, who got the start last night and was just dominant in that ball game. He hit a solo home run, caught 3 runners stealing and picked off another runner, did Pendleton. And Proto's done a terrific job, too, behind the plate this year. He caught Jonah Scalaro last time Scalaro was on the hill on Tuesday, a game in which Jonah threw 5 shutout innings. Count 1-0 to the Centerville native.
Proto in his last appearance had an outstanding night at the plate, reached base 4 times. 2 walks, got hit by a pitch, reached on an error, and had a single in that time. He also reached home twice.
The 1-1 to Proto. He checks his swing. We'll see if he went around. They check it first, and they say yes, he did. The count 1-2. Harbor Hawks with 2 home in the inning as the score sits 2-0 here in Falmouth. A 2-run homer to left by Dom Johnson opened the scoring. The 1-2 to Proto. Another breaking pitch in the dirt. He did not go around this time. 2-2.
Well, gonna try something new now. Didn't bring out the hat last time. It turned out bad. Let's see how it works this time.
The 2-2 with 2 away. Lincoln brings back the lucky hat. The pitch on its way. And Proto ropes that one to left. A base hit with 2 away. That extends the inning as Ryan Proto reaches base.
The hat is back in business. Beautiful hit there from Proto, being able to put that one in with a 2-out single.
Back to the top of the order for Hyannis as Clark Elliott digs in for the second time in 2 innings. It's always a good sign when your leadoff man is back at the plate in the second.
The bats are active once again. Already 3 hits on the game for the Harbor Hawks.
The Harbor Hawks definitely like playing at Gov Fuller Field. They got out early and often last time with 4 runs in the first. In that 5-2 win, they've gotten out early, 2-0 here. Elliott swings and pops it up, drifting out of play towards the visitor bleacher as it falls and does not make contact with the fan, luckily.
All fans are exposed here at Gulf Fuller Field. All the fencing is pretty small besides the fence behind home plate towards the press box, but yeah, if you're a fan here, you better be on your guard. Keep that head on a swivel.
Elliott grounded out to first. Back in the first inning, he's behind in this count 0-2. Came into the game leading the Harbor Hawks in batting average, .294 on the year. Having a great month of July since being activated. The count 0-2 with 2 away. Proto gets his lead at first. Pitch from Pelio. Runner goes. He stumbled a bit, and that one's lined over towards the Bat Boys. Yeah, the visitor dugout. Count will hold at 0-2. It's a good thing he fought that pitch off because Proto was looking to steal, but stumbled. So he may have been in no man's land. The count will hold at 0-2. The Harborhawks do have one stolen base tonight. Caden Rose stole second, back in the first. Paleo comes set. The right-handed pitcher gets the signs and fires. That one by Elliott is blooped to shallow left field. It's going to drop for a base hit. Proto will hold at second. It's another 2-out single. The Harborhawks looking to put together a little rally here with 2 away. Now runners on first and second.
I like that effort from Harford over at short. He tried to dive for that ball. Would have been a fantastic catch had he made it, but sadly it just, or fortunately for Elliott that is, it just dropped right in front of his glove. And now with 2 runners on, Caden Rose, who's 1 for 1, steps to the plate now.
Rose had that single to left field. Back in the first, he then stole second, but was left stranded. With runners on first and second, a good chance for the Harborhawks to add on to the 2 already brought home in the inning. Long pause here from Paleo on the mound as Rose gets ready. Paleo comes set, stares down Proto at second and fires home. The first pitch in the dirt, blocked by French, the Clemson catcher. It's ball 1.
Rose has been able to find base quite a bit, .315. His on-base percentage explains why he's in the 2-hole. Him and Elliott have just been unstoppable at finding ways to reach base in games as of late.
That one is chopped to third. The step on the bag to end the inning as that is out number 3. Rose thought it was foul, and there seems to be some confusion as that ball did look to be pretty much foul.
It did. It looked foul from here.
But that will end the inning for now. The Harborhawks do strand 2, but they get 2 home. As a Dom Johnson 2-run shot puts Hyannis on top early. We'll be back for the bottom of the second on the Harborhawks Baseball Network.
Hi, my name is Gary Calhoun. I'm the manager of the Hyannis Harborhawks, and you're listening to the Hyannis Harborhawks Radio Network.
Bottom of the second inning, ready to go as Jonas Scalero winds up and fires a first pitch that misses for a ball 1-0. The Hawks added 2 in the top of the second thanks to the 2-run home run by Dom Johnson. Austin DeCouta, Lincoln Revill here with you in the broadcast booth as that one is popped up by Armstrong, the leadoff man. In the center field, Caden Rose makes the catch for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down, as Scalero has now retired the first 4 batters he's faced in this ballgame.
And Caden Rose now responsible for half of the putouts in today's game so far. 2 flyouts to him. Doing a good job being able to backtrack and pick that one out of the air. A nice high fly ball there from Armstrong. A good first out.
Going back to that game against Bourne, Scalero has retired 11 straight batters that he's faced. In those 5 shutout innings, he allowed just 1 hit. He was phenomenal. That one misses low.
It's very impressive. 11 straight putouts.
In 2 different games, but still,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
good start to this ball game with 4 in a row. He ended his start against Bourne with 7 in a row retired, including striking out the side in the 5th. The 1-0. Got him out in front on a breaking ball, 1-1. Taylor Smith, the DH, who's also listed as a catcher. At the plate for the Commodores, he has 3 homers on the season, 5 RBI. Smith has some pop. The ball seemed to be flying out of Gov Fuller Field in batting practice. That one misses, 2-1 the count.
Smith started the last game where we faced the Commodores here at Gov Fuller Field. Ended up with a 1-for-2 night with a single, a strikeout, and a walk. He ended up being subbed out from Jonathan French once in that game.
The 2-1 is in the dirt and blocked by Proto. 3-1 the count. Taylor Smith sporting these stirrups, or I don't know if those are traditional stirrups. They're multicolored socks, I guess you could say.
They are. They're not. Those aren't. Yeah,
they have
those are
the
just
look
the
of
imprinted.
stirrups.
Yeah. It's like the stirrups that you would get in Little League, you know?
Ones that are just on the sock.
Yeah, back in like the early. I remember when I was in Little League back in the early 2000s, back in my day. We had those socks just imprinted, and we would just wear those all the time.
Back in your day.
Yeah, I'm an old guy now, apparently.
Smith continues to battle the count 3-2 after another foul ball.
Fans are not allowed into the police parking lot to get foul balls. Thank you.
As always, fans cannot go retrieve the foul balls that end up in the police station parking lot.
It's a shame because that parking lot is, it's very close to this field. Lots of foul balls, especially from last game, fall in there.
3-2 on its way. That one's fouled off. The count will hold at 3-2.
Nice grab from one of the Harbor Hawks bat boys, grabbing that with one hand and just scooping it right back up. Good battle here from Smith. We'll see who comes out on top.
The full count pitch once more, and it's fouled off again. This one is Souvenir, and it drops into the bleachers.
Someone with a chance to make a pretty good grab out there in the bleachers, but instead everybody just leaned away from it, trying to let it hit the ground before anybody went for it.
That sun's in a tough spot for that side of the field.
Very true, it is.
Scalaro steps off. He'll wait a second and then regroup and get the signs from Proto. He holds that glove up with his right hand, brings the left hand to the mitt, now winds up and fires the full count pitch again. He got him. Swing and a miss by Smith, and Scalaro off to a good start, 5 in a row retired, and there's 2 away here in the second.
5 in a row retired, 2 straight outs here in the second, and 2 strikeouts now for Scalaro. He's off to another hot start here after that first start a few days ago. Very impressive.
Anthony Hall will dig in now, the left fielder. Hall with 2 homers on the season, batting .220. Lefty-lefty matchup. Scalaro fires a first pitch breaking ball, called strike, 0-1. The Harbor Hawks dugout screams out to the outfield, has Dom Johnson move over about 10 feet to the right. That one's lined to shortstop and caught in the air by Kyle Ball to end the inning. 6 up, 6 down. The Commodores are yet to find the hit column or base running column against Jonas Scalaro. He has been sensational. 3rd inning coming from Gov Fuller Field when we return on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
that ball well to right field. It is
Adios,
high,
amigo.
It is far, and it is gone.
Holy cow.
Zane Harris crushed that one.
A long drive towards right center field, and it's gone in the trees.
Hit from Braithwaite. Swung on and missed, and the ball game is over. The Harbor Hawks have defeated the Catuit Kettleers.
That one is a good long drive towards left field, and gone!
You're listening to the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Back here for the top of the third, Luke Mann going to swing at the first pitch as he flies it out to left field. Hall is under it and makes the grab for out number one. One pitch, one out to start the third.
Like the aggressiveness from Mann on that first pitch. He lofted it, just got a little bit under it, as that turned into a pretty easy grab for Hall for that first out.
That'll bring up Zane Harris. Harris 0 for 1 on the night with a ground out to short. Been hitting the ball well as of late, getting on base a ton. He put the ball out 8 or 9 times in batting practice today. The right field a little bit shorter here at Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth. The 1-0 from Pelio is a breaking ball in the dirt, 1-1 the count, or 2-0 the count rather. 2-0 with one away. Some dark clouds moving in the area.
That doesn't look good.
Starting off as a sunny day in the 80s. There was some rain throughout Massachusetts, but we avoided it here in Falmouth for the most part. The count is 3-0 to Zane Harris with one away. Red light here?
I'd say red light, yeah. Has yet to really register a strike yet in this inning.
There it is, a called strike on the outside corner, borderline, but it's going to find the zone. 3-1 the count.
Just found the dimensions here for Go Fuller Field. They're not listed, but I did find it on a website. This shows 320 to both the left and right field corners, and then 385 out to dead center. It seems a little bit shorter than 320, though.
Harris gives that one a pretty good ride to left center field. Moving under it and making the catch is Hall for out number 2. He hit it well, but it just hung up long enough for the speedy Hall to get it in left center.
Yeah, he did. Hall making himself very active here in this inning. 2 straight putouts for him. Good hit, well hit ball from Harris, but he just couldn't find open grass there.
In steps Kyle Ball. He walked and scored in the second. Pelio has retired the first 2 batters of the top of the third. Breaking ball to Kyle Ball is a ball, 1-0.
It was almost fate, really, that Kyle Ball's playing, collegiate sports now.
That one grounded to third. They're going to say it fouled off of him in the box, so the count will just move to 1-1. Pelio to this point, 2 2/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. No action in the Commodore bullpen. The 1-1 is on its way, and it's a called strike, 1-2.
A good pitch there from Pelio. That breaking ball can be dangerous if you find it at the right time.
Looking to retire the side in order. The 1-2 is swung on and missed in the dirt. French will tag ball to end the inning on the drop third strike. The Harbor Hawks go down in order, but they still lead 2-0 on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. Harbor Hawks Baseball Network here for the bottom of the third inning. Austin DeCouta with Lincoln Revill at the broadcast booth at Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth. Michael Curiali, the leadoff man of the inning. He's a 7-hitter in the Commodore order. 7, 8, 9 due up. It's Curiali, French, and Harford. Jonas Scalaro back on the mound for his third inning of work. Has retired the first 6 batters that have come to the plate for the Commodores.
Yeah, Scalaro's just been phenomenal on the mound so far out of those first 2 innings. See if he can continue his great work here.
He's ahead of the 7-hitter Curiali 1-2 after he drops in a 76-mile-per-hour breaking ball at the knees for strike 2. 1-2 the count. I think I just saw some lightning, Lincoln.
Did you? That's no good. There's no... I'm reluctant to say this right now, but there's no rain in the forecast.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah, there's a small chance tomorrow, but I haven't seen anything for today.
2-2 the count as Scalaro winds up and fires a fastball that's fouled off towards the Falmouth police station as the count will hold at 2-2.
Again, we'd like to remind you not to go in the police parking lot to catch foul balls. Thank you.
2-2, nobody out. Wind up, and the 2-2 on its way from Scalaro. A breaking ball hit weakly down the third base line and foul, so we'll have to do it again. Ryan Proto behind the dish doing a great job calling the game once again for Scalaro. You can check out Ryan Proto's pregame interview from the sideline with our sideline reporter Taylor Farmer. That is on the Harbor Hawks YouTube page. Ryan, the Centerville, Massachusetts native, playing for the hometown Harbor Hawks, has a strikeout for Jonas Scalaro. Starts off things here in the bottom of the third.
Another fantastic strikeout, a beautiful breaking ball there. Strikeout number 3 for Scalaro. He has 1 in each inning so far. He's been doing a phenomenal job.
Proto calling a great game once again. And he talked about in that interview with Taylor how special it is to play here in the Cape Cod League. He grew up watching the Harbor Hawks.
Now here's a batter at the plate. You got to be careful when you pitch to him. You got to try to find those spots where he can't find the ball.
It's the Clemson catcher, Jonathan French. His tag team partner from Clemson, Adam Hackenberg, who got the other half of the catching duties, was drafted by the Chicago White Sox. The count is 1-1.
Now French, as I mentioned, went 0 for 1 in the last time we played the Commodores here at Gov Fuller Field. Although whenever we had them at McKeon Park, French ended 2 for 5 with a home run and a single. A very big home run there as the Commodores ended up with a 5-run first inning.
French has 2 homers on the season, both at McKeon Park against the Harbor Hawks. The 2-1 on its way, a called ball. 3-1. 272 on the year for French. As mentioned, the 2 homers and 5 RBI. He's been a thorn in the side of the Harbor Hawks this year. The 3-1. Swings at a pitch below the knees and fouls it off. The count will move to full at 3-2.
Scalaro's fought back to that full count now, looking for his 8th straight batter retired. Big chance here.
3-2, 1 away. Scalaro shakes off Proto. He'll go with the second option, the 3-2. Breaking ball misses for ball 4. Left it up in the zone, and French lays off. So the first base runner Scalaro allows comes all the way in the bottom of the third inning. Not a bad start. At some point, somebody's going to get on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not. Very rarely do you ever see a perfect game from anybody, but still, only 1 walk and 1 runner allowed in the first 3 innings and 1 runner so far. Not a bad outing at all.
That brings up Casey Harford, the shortstop. We've seen him make a couple of solid plays over at short tonight. French at first. That one is belted to left field. It's going to hang up a bit. Johnson's under it a few feet in front of the wall, makes the catch for out number 2. Some loud contact, but it results in a long flyout. And Scalaro does a nice job of bouncing back and gets the second out.
Yeah, nice routine flyout from Johnson there. He only had to move a little bit over to his left to make that catch. Solid 2 outs now, and Boyers at the plate as the Harborhawks look for that final out.
Luke Boyers will step in with 2 away. Boyers, the leadoff man for the Commodores, went down looking to start their bottom half of the first. That makes him 0 for 1 on the night. French doesn't have a lot of speed at first. No stolen bases on the year, no attempts. The 1-0 from Scalaro misses for ball 2, 2-0.
Yeah, French is definitely not looking to steal as of yet, as he's been leaning back towards first base when he gets that leadoff. He's anticipating that pickoff move from Scalaro. So I don't think we'll see a stolen base attempt from him here. There he is leaning back once again.
Boyers, the TCU outfielder, takes a called strike, 2-1. He was a standout quarterback in high school and a 2-time district long jump champion.
Wow.
A high school quarterback, long jump champion, and now a top prospect in baseball.
Long jump champion, that's no small feat. Definitely no small feat.
Shows you how athletic Luke Boyers is. Good reason he's in center field with all that speed.
I did a little bit of long jump in high school, you know.
How did you fare?
Not well. No. Not well.
The 2-2 to Boyers. A breaking ball chopped foul down the third base line. 2-2, 2 away. Not a district champion?
Not even close, no. I got put into long jump so I went to a very small school, and we basically had people that were put into events at the last second just for the sake of points.
Oh, okay. The 2-2, swing and a miss. Scalaro strands the only runner he's allowed at first. The Harborhawks lead it 2-0 after 3. Before we head to the 4th, we're going to toss it over to our sideline reporter, Taylor Farmer, with an update here at Gov Fuller Field.
Thank you, Austin. You mentioned earlier in the broadcast that the Harborhawks are seeing the ball better at the plate. I talked to Caden Rose about that and just getting the bats going. And he kind of laughed a little bit, saying that some nights it's getting the bats going and some nights it's getting the arms going. But tonight we've got both. Dom Johnson with that 2-run homer, top of the second, and then Jonas Scalaro being electric on the mound tonight. Caden said that when they put it all together, they have a pretty good team, and I'd say I'd have to agree with that.
Thank you very much, Taylor, and we'll be back for the 4th inning to see Dom Johnson, as Taylor mentioned, who had the 2-run home run. He's going to lead things off when we return on the Harborhawks Baseball Network.
My name is Marcos Pujos. I'm the first baseman for the Harbor Hawks. You're listening to the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Dom Johnson getting ready to lead us off here in the top of the fourth from Gov Fuller Field. Austin DeCouta and Lincoln Revill here with you in the booth as Mason Pelio is back on the hill for his fourth inning of work. He's allowed 2 runs on 4 hits tonight. The Commodores still searching for their first hit. Dom Johnson looks to drop a bunt. It goes foul. Johnson, a really selfless player. I mean, he's a guy who hit a 2-run home run. A lot of guys would go back up there and look to blast another one, but he'll do anything to get on base. Shows it there by attempting to drop a bunt. He'll do anything to help his team win.
Yeah, and I'm sure Falmouth, after the way Johnson's been hitting lately, I'm sure they were expecting another big swing from him, but a good idea, I think. A good little strategy to try to lay down that bunt.
He checks his swing there, and they say he goes around 0-2.
Now with an 0-2 count, you can't afford to be picky. You got to go for anything close to the zone, and if it's not your pitch, just try to foul it off.
The 0-2 cut on and missed. A breaking ball below the zone for out number 1. As Johnson is retired.
Now batting the designated hitter,
Strikeout number 2 on the night for Pelio, and he's been doing a good job on the mound so far. He's been pretty unpredictable, I'd say, on the mound, but you know, it's just when he finds those fastballs, that's when the Harbor Hawks are getting those hits.
Greer, they started off with a first pitch breaking ball that he can't connect with, 0-1. Mason Greer comes to us from McLennan Community College. Will be transferring. The 0-1 breaking ball, that misses, 1-1 the count. Of course, Greer, the son of legendary Texas Ranger Rusty Greer, former MLB star. The 1-1 to Mason Greer is a swing and a miss, a fastball at 93, just goes by him, 1-2 the count. Good sized crowd here at Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth, just behind the police station. The 1-2. Tried to find the outside corner, but just missed off the corner, 2-2 the count.
Now the McLennan Community College, the Highlanders, actually just won the national championship, the baseball team. So Greer came to the Cape as a newly crowned national champion.
Full count, 3-2 to Mason Greer. 1 away in the inning. Wind up, and the pitch from Pelio. Fastball, and Greer hits that one well on a line to right. It's going to drop for a base hit. A 1-out single from Mason Greer puts a man aboard for the 5th hit of the night for Hyannis.
Now batting the second baseman, number 30.
Great job from Greer. He found base in last night's game as well. He's been able to find base quite a bit in games as of late, and he's been doing a good job of finding bases. Now Ryan Romano steps up.
Ryan Romano now stands in. 1 away. Mason Greer at first. First pitch to Romano from Pelio. It's a fastball that Romano can't catch up with. 0-1. Romano said his favorite pitch to hit is a fastball. A lot of guys on this team do enjoy getting a fastball that they can do something with.
Yeah,
the 0-1. Chopped foul, 0-2.
The fastball on the inside seems to be a particularly intriguing pitch.
Romano 0 for 1 on the night with a strikeout. Down 0-2 in the count, wants to avoid going down on strikes here. Mason Greer at first, or at least looking to move the runner up. The 0-2, breaking ball, that misses, 1-2.
Good eye there. That one barely missed on the inside.
Romano's cousin Jonas Galaro on the mound today, as the duo from Florida State has been impressive this season for Hyannis. The 1-2 from Pelio, a breaking ball, called strike 3 as Romano goes down looking for out number 2.
Big, great breaking ball there from Pelio. Out number 2, strikeout number 2 of the inning.
Now batting the catcher, number 21, Ryan Proto.
Ryan Proto will step in for the second time tonight. He's 1 for 1 with a single. That was back in the top of the second inning. Mason Greer over at first. 2 away now. Proto, the 9-hitter. A curveball misses inside. It's Clark Elliott on deck if we get to that point. Proto glances down at third and checks in with hitting coach Travis Poole, who coaches third. Manager Gary Calhoun of Hyannis coaches first. A 1-0 from Pelio. Fastball called strike. Count moves to 1-1.
We've seen a lot of multicolored bats from both teams tonight. Proto choosing to go with a solid black piece of wood. You see the pine tar sort of discoloring that a little bit.
The 1-1 is a called strike, 1-2. Taking a look at some scores from around the league, the Brewster Whitecaps lead the Wareham Gatemen 8-3 in the bottom of the 6th. The Orleans Firebirds lead the YD Red Sox 8-5 in the top of the 7th. Catuit and Bourne tied at 0. The 1-2 is a curveball that Proto checks his swing on. He does not go. Count moves to 2-2 with 2 away. And Harwich and Chatham has not started yet. That wraps up the scores from around the league here in the Cape. 2-2, 2 away. Lincoln brings back his lucky hat, which he shakes when there are 2-2 and 2 away for the Harbor Hawks. The pitch on its way. Proto stays alive, fouls that one off. He hit it well, was just late on the fastball. Guess they had some business for another to go.
Going to try something new, see if it works better this way. So you start out with the head on your head, you rub the side of the bill first.
Oh, now we're doing too much here.
I don't know. I'm just seeing what works. Here we go. Now as he comes set, delivers.
The 2-2 is hit on the ground hard to short. Hartford goes the short way to second to end the inning. The Harbor Hawks strand one, but they still lead 2-0 as Jonas Scalaro heads back on the mound for his 4th inning of work. Falmouth still searching for their first hit on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Hi, my name's Caden Rose. I'm an infielder for the Harbor Hawks, and you're listening to the Harbor Hawk Network.
Back here for the bottom of the 4th inning. Before we get going, a word from Curry College. Curry College is where you go to become anything you want. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers with learning beyond the classroom, explore undergraduate programs, NCAA Division III athletics, and continuing education and graduate studies, including a 5th-year master's program at www.curry.edu. Jonas Scalaro has blanked the Falmouth Commodores through the first 3. Back on the hill here for the 4th. He's allowed just 1 base runner, a harmless walk back in last inning, the bottom of the 3rd. Braden Taylor back up here, the count 1-1 to the 3rd baseman. Braden Taylor also from TCU, as is the man who bats ahead of him, Luke Boyers. In 2021, at TCU, Taylor hit .324 with a .445 OBP, 12 homers. In that season, he was just terrific.
Very impressive numbers coming from him. And then so far in the Cape, batting .206 with a .400 on-base percentage and a .529 slugging percentage.
Pretty impressive OBP. Oh for 1 on the night. Came into the game batting .283 with the 2 homers. The count 2-2 to Taylor. Scalaro back on the hill as he winds up and fires a 2-2 pitch. A breaking ball, swing and a miss. Scalaro sets down another for out number 1.
Scalaro just continues to be dominant on the mound. 5 strikeouts so far, including 2 in a row from Boyers and Taylor. And a good first out here in the bottom of the 4th.
Scalaro continuing that scoreless inning streak. Fired 5 scoreless against Bourne. Continues to confuse hitters. 1 away. Brings up Jace Borfin, the right fielder. He flew out to right field back in the first inning. The 1-0. Misses a bit low. 2-0 the count.
Scalaro out of Durant High School ended up with the all-time most strikeouts out of Durant.
The 2-0 is a fastball, and Borfin can't catch up. 2-1. A lot of guys on this team have high school records, and that's why they're playing at D1 universities. I think Caden Rose has the all-time record for doubles back at his high school.
Yeah, Scalaro with 306 strikeouts in his high school career is the most in his high school's history.
That one's fouled back. 2-2 the count. Scalaro has been dominant this season for Hyannis.
I will say that 306 strikeouts, no small feat. He struck out 85 just in his senior season.
Coming into the game, Scalaro had an 8 1/3 innings pitched scoreless streak. He's added on 3 1/3 more. The 2-2. Breaking ball swung on and missed again. Jonas Scalaro just can't be touched. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th. 3 straight punch-outs.
Everything's working for him so far. Beautiful fastball, fantastic breaking ball that we've seen so many times. And like you said, the Commodores just can't touch him right now.
He came into the ball game with just 1 earned run through 12 innings pitched, sporting a minuscule 0.75 ERA.
I can definitely tell you that the few scouts that are still here after the draft definitely turning their heads towards Scalaro now after the 2 outings that he's had.
The windup and the 0-1 to Armstrong is a off-speed pitch outside. They'll check the swing, and they will say that Armstrong did not go around. Count will move to 1-1 with 2 away. The 1-1 hit hard on the ground, foul. The count will move to 1-2. One, two away. Scalaro gets the signs from Proto, the windup and the pitch. He struck him out. Jonas Scalaro strikes out the side in order. 4 no-hit innings for the lefty from Florida State as Hyannis still holds a 2-0 lead over Falmouth on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. Clark Elliott getting ready to lead us off here in the top of the 5th inning as the Harbor Hawks still hold a 2-0 lead over the Falmouth Commodores. Dom Johnson with a 2-run homer, which opened and is the only score for the Harbor Hawks tonight. That 2-run homer to left, and Jonas Galaro has been brilliant on the hill for Hyannis with 4 no-hit innings.
Now, the way he's going, do you think he might end up breaking the longest outing of the season and going 6?
Well,
do you see him going 6?
I don't know. He's only on 4 days rest rather than your typical maybe 5 or 6 we've seen down here. So we'll have to see how he's feeling.
The
Pitch count could play a factor.
The bullpen is still quiet, so we know for sure that he's probably going to come out for at least the start of the 5th.
He's been dominant so far as Clark Elliott lofts a single to left field to lead us off here in the top of the 5th. And the leadoff man is on of the inning, and Elliott's also the leadoff hitter in the Harbor Hawks order, which means 2-3-4 loom here for Hyannis.
A great start from Elliott, the first leadoff hit of the game back in the 2nd. Kyle Ball reached in the leadoff spot on a walk, but Elliott with the first leadoff hit of the game so far.
Paleo fires to Caden Rose, who lofts it to deep right center field. It's pretty well hit. Moving under it and making the grab in center is Boyers for out number 1. Rose just got under it a bit.
That one carried quite a bit. We've seen in the last couple of games, the ball seems to be flying a lot easier and a lot farther than it has in the past. And
the wind blowing out, the weather getting warmer down here in the Cape. Vacation season is full underway. The crowds have grown a bit too.
They have a huge crowd here. It started out a little small, but people have filed in by the tons, I'll say.
Luke Mann digs in for the 3rd time. He's over 2 with a pair of flyouts. Pickoff move to first. Elliott is back in standing. He does have good speed. He tied for the team lead at Michigan this season in stolen bases. And he's 2 for 2 here with Hyannis. We'll see if anything's brewing with the speedy outfielder aboard at first. You don't want to take the bat out of anybody's hands, but Elliott is going. The throw to second by French is not in time. A stolen base by Elliott. Picks up his 3rd of the season, and the Harbor Hawks have another runner in scoring position as they look to add to that 2-0 lead.
Elliott once again showing his aggressive speed. As you mentioned, he steals his 3rd stolen base of the night, and he has, or of the season, that is. I apologize, and he's just been phenomenal.
Luke Mann looking to pick up the runner in scoring position and looking to add to that RBI total, which has grown significantly this week. Breaking ball misses. Coming into the game, Luke Mann now with 11 RBI, which is good for the team lead, as he has just piled them up. 4 against Bourne. I believe 5 against Harwich. The 2-0 awaits from Paleo. He gets a look at Elliott leading from second, and he'll step off and look Clark Elliott back to second base. Dark clouds above as the lights come on here at Gov Fuller Field.
And those clouds look a little bit dangerous. I'm a little worried about them, but as of now, we're still good as of now.
The 2-0 to Luke Mann. Hit on the ground down the first base line. Foul. Just missed, going for what would have been an RBI as it skipped by the first baseman, Armstrong, and down the right field line. Would have been a tough grab for Borfin, who would have had to come a long way to get that one on the ground and try to fire it in to get the speedy Elliott.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if Borfin could have gotten to that ball before it rolled underneath the bleachers out down the first base foul line. Those bleachers, part of a football field that also runs into Gov Fuller Field, and they're open. There's no fencing near by those bleachers at all.
The 2-1 to Luke Mann. He can't connect with a fastball at 91-2-2. And the single to lead off this inning for Elliott has extended his hit streak to 6 games. He's been swinging a really good bat the last week. The 2-2 to Luke Mann. He checks his swing. They'll check at third, and he did not go. The correct call.
Yeah, it was close, but he was able to hold it off just in the nick of time.
count will be full, 3-2, one away. Where do you go if you're Pelio?
I'd say you got to go with the fastball, and I'd say try for the outside part of the plate. You don't want to send it down the heart, but you don't want to throw junk either, so I'd say fastball on the outside.
Pelio comes set, the 3-2 to Luke Mann. A breaking ball. He fouls it off and stays alive. Mann was 0 for 4 against Chatham. That was last night at McKeon Park, but on Friday against Harwich, he was 3 for 5, the homer and 5 RBI. And then Wednesday at Bourne, 3 for 4, a homer and 4 RBI. So he has been sensational this week.
As we mentioned a couple days ago, Mann making quite a running for the Cape Cod Player of the Week.
The 3-2 cut on and miss, and that's out number 2 as Luke Mann can't connect on a breaking ball.
Now batting the first baseman, number 33, Zane Harris.
That'll bring up Zane Harris with 2 away. Elliott still on second. Harris has made solid contact twice. He's grounded out to short and lined out to left.
Yeah, he's made contact, as you mentioned, just looking for that gap. And if you can find that gap in this at-bat, that should score a run, as we've seen a lot of speed from Elliott. He can gather ground very quickly.
First pitch to Harris, a called strike, 0-1.
Just barely touching the black part of the inside.
Harris had an RBI against Harwich and 1 against Bourne. The 0-1 tapped foul, 0-2. Harris actually has an RBI in the last 4 games that he's played in. An RBI in each of the 3 in the 3-game series against Bourne and 1 on Harwich on Friday before having the day off yesterday against Chatham. Looking to add to that RBI total here. The 0-2 from Pelio. Fastball taken for a ball. 1-2.
Good eye there. I know that high fastball can be very appealing to some batters, but he's doing a good job of being able to hold off from that. Harris has been one of the most disciplined hitters that we've seen as of late. He's been able to fight back from low counts pretty often in recent games.
The 1-2 to Harris. Breaking ball, called strike 3, and the inning is over. As Harris goes down looking, the Harbor Hawks strand a man in scoring position but still lead it 2-0. As Jonas Scolaro will come back out for the 5th as he's through 4 no-hit innings. He looks to continue his success here in the bottom of the 5th when we return on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Hi, my name's Caden Rose. I'm an infielder for the Harbor Hawks, and you're listening to the Harbor Hawk Network.
Bottom of the 5th, ready to begin, but before we do, I'm going to pass it over to my broadcast partner, Lincoln Revill, who will handle play-by-play duties the rest of the way. Lincoln, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Austin. Another fantastic job. It's going to be hard to follow that job up for the remainder of tonight's game, but I will do my best.
Thank you. Much appreciated as always.
Bottom half of the 5th coming up. Jonas Scalaro back on the mound. He's in the windup. He's only allowed one runner on base so far tonight. Pitch comes in. That first one finds the zone. A breaking ball at 79 miles an hour to start us off here in the bottom of the 5th. That's Taylor Smith, the DH at the plate, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout, as we are with a pretty much overcast field. What started out as a very sunny, very warm day has turned into a cool, cloudy day here at Gov Fuller Field as the 0-1 is swung on and missed. Another breaking ball.
Classic day on the Cape where you start with sunscreen at 6 o'clock and end up putting a jacket on by the 6th inning.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite way in Texas, especially during the fall and spring months, where it starts out a very cold morning where you'll end up with a jacket, and then by about mid-afternoon it'll be about 85, 90 degrees. The 0-2 swung on, fouled off. That heads into the police office parking lot, so that one is off limits to fans trying to get a souvenir. It's going to keep the count at 0-2.
Commodores have been kept guessing at the plate thanks in part to a dominant curveball.
Ryan Proto calling a great game as that is swung on and missed. Taylor Smith goes down on strike 3. And he's now 0 for 2 with a pair of Ks. The 5th straight strikeout for Jonas Scalaro, as there's now one away with Anthony Hall coming up to the plate.
This is just incredible. Jonas Scalaro has been absolutely dominant this season. He has got to be a top scout's radars now. I mean,
yeah.
He's just been dominating everybody.
Undoubtedly on the top of a lot of radars.
He cut through the Bourne Braves, the #1 team in the Cape League, with 1 hit allowed across 5. Now he's here in Falmouth against a very formidable Commodore lineup, and he's allowed no hits through 4 1/3.
And he's fanned 8 so far through just 4 1/3 innings. The 0-1 now to Anthony Hall. That one's lofted and fouled as that heads out of play into the very vulnerable crowd here at Gov Fuller Field. Once again, not very much fencing, especially once you get past the infield. Along the infield, there are a couple of low fences, but fans very much at risk of any foul balls, flying bats, all sorts of things. As the 0-2 comes in, swing and a miss on the breaking ball. Strikeout number 6 in a row, as that's number 9 on the night for Scalaro. Bullpen still very quiet for the Harbor Hawks. I'm wondering if we might see a 6th inning out of Scalaro. He's going strong, and he's still untouchable.
He is untouchable. I mean, they just haven't even made much contact off him. I mean, pretty obvious by the, 5, 6 strikeouts in a row. But even before that, a lot of the contact was not necessarily hard-hit balls. And he's been in the zone. He's been effective in keeping hitters off balance, which is why you don't have to throw 95 to be a good pitcher. He throws 90, but he's just all over the zone, just picking his spots, and has been terrific.
And that 1-0 pitch lofted just past first base, picked up by Zane Harris for out number 3. A wonderful inning from Jonas Scalaro as we head to the 6th. Harbor Hawks up 2-0 on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
I'm Hunter Furtado, number 5, left-hand pitcher from Wake Forest.
I'm Austin Wallace, number 18, left-handed pitcher from the University of Texas.
And you're listening to
the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Harbor Hawks Baseball Network coming back from Gov Fuller Field. Lincoln Revill alongside Austin DeCouta here for the top of the 6th inning. Harbor Hawks up 2-0 against the Falmouth Commodores heading to the 6th inning of play as Kyle Ball is going to start us off. Ball has reached base once as he's 0 for 1 on the night with a walk in the 2nd. He reached home after that walk, and then he also had a drop third strike in the 3rd. The pitch from new pitcher Charles Harrison goes off of his gloves. That's hit back up the middle. The throw on the run from Curiali is just in time for out number 1. A great play from Michael Curiali.
Will go down as a 1-4-3 putout as it hits the glove of Harrison. And good awareness by Curiali to be able to shift where he was going, because that ball was going up the middle. So that's where Curiali was going, but he's able to change direction, come in, and make a quick throw to get the speedy ball.
Almost some great reflexes, still some great reflexes from Harrison on the mound as he was able to almost pick that one off, but it ended up going off the tip of his glove. So with 1 away, Dom Johnson, responsible for the only 2 runs for the Harbor Hawks tonight, steps into the plate once again. Watches that first pitch go by. That misses low and away for ball 1. Johnson, 1 for 2 with that home run, as I mentioned, and he also went down swinging a few innings ago back in the 4th. Charles Harrison from UCLA, the 5.62 ERA in his 6th appearance of the season. Through 8 innings pitched, he's allowed 11 hits, has 5 runs, which are all earned, walked 7, and has fanned 10.
Now Johnson ahead in the count 2-0. It's a good fastball count. If he gets something inside, he can really hit the ball well inside, especially fastballs.
2-0, an inside fastball at the knee. Brings the count to 2-1 now after that one finds the inside part of the plate.
I think he was waiting there, trying to find a better pitch than that. It was a little bit too far inside where that's when you just foul off your foot, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to get that one. It's hard to get one that far inside to be a good hit.
He does turn on him well, but not when they're that buried on the hands, or buried on the knees, I guess.
2-1 misses a little bit inside near the hands of Johnson as that one brings the count to 3-1 now. This is the lone away game for the Harbor Hawks this week, as starting tomorrow we'll have 3 straight home games. Those will all be here once again on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. The 3-1 fouled off, bringing the count to full. That heads straight back. Going to head into the brush as that brings the count to full at 3-2.
Good battle here. Johnson, somebody who's a little bit difficult to retire if you're the Commodores. Definitely can work the count.
Johnson, his front foot bobbing up and down, wiggling in the box as the payoff comes in. He rips that one back towards second. That is going to be picked up by Curiali. A hard throw is not in time. Johnson reaches with a 1-out infield single just in time from the throw from Curiali.
He's got great speed down the line. He hits that one. I thought that was going to get through, but Curiali's so quick at second base, he's able to get to it in shallow right. But you're just not going to get Dom Johnson on a ball like that where he had to travel so far to get to it. He is quick.
Yeah, Curiali was actually, not sure why, but he was actually set up pretty close out there towards second base. He had to make quite a bit of ground to cover to get to a ball, which, if he was in the regular second base position, would have been a pretty routine play.
And Johnson, if you watch him in batting practice, all he does is go to right center field. I mean, right center field on the right side. He just takes everything opposite field in BP. So, I mean, you would think you would set up more towards that first and second base hole a little bit.
And of course, that home run did go over the left field fence.
Right, he did get ahead of that one. But
yeah,
typically, I mean, his other home run was to right center. A lot of his hits are to right field.
Yeah, he's definitely an opposite field heavy hitter. The throw over from Harrison is not in time. He's back in safely. Mason Greer now at the plate. Greer is 1 for 2, had a single in his last appearance. Harrison with a big breath. The right-hander comes home. Misses just a bit outside, bringing the count now to 1-0. Greer from Missouri State. Going to Missouri State, I should say, formerly of McLennan Community College. Wind blowing here at Gov Fuller Field, heading out from right to left as the runner goes from first, throw down to second is not in time. Johnson able to escape the tag from Harford as he's in safely.
Third stolen base of the night for the Harbor Hawks, one by Rose, one by Elliott. Now Johnson picks one up as they're seemingly getting a good jump off the Commodore pitchers, and French is having a tough time. I think all three of his throws have been a little bit high. He gets it there quick, but I mean, also the Harbor Hawks are great at stealing bases. Those three guys are three best of them. Elliott yet to be thrown out on the base pass. Caden Rose was only thrown out twice in now 8 attempts, and now Johnson picks another one up.
Johnson with his 4th stolen base of the season, first tonight.
And that's a runner in scoring position for you. And if Mason Greer can do what he did last at bat, which was a single to right field, you could be looking at a nice 3-0 lead. I don't see any action in the Harbor Hawk bullpen either, Lincoln. And by now, if somebody was going to come start the 6th, they would be throwing.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, they'd be well past stretching and warming up, and they'd be throwing full-on pitches. But instead, it looks like Jonas Scalaro is going to try for inning number 6, which if he can get just one out in that 6th inning would be the longest. He would hold the record once again for longest outing by a Harbor Hawk this season. Count now at 2-1 to Mason Greer. The pitch from Harrison. Swung on and missed. Even a count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good movement there on the breaking ball. Tough pitch to hit if you're a left-handed hitter as it breaks towards you. Foul that one off your foot or just chop it down the first base line.
Greer actually started off in 2019 at Auburn. Played a season there before transferring to McLennan, and then now transferring once again to Missouri State as he swings and chops that one down towards third base. That's going to be picked up by Taylor. Throw over to first is in time, just in time, as that is out number 2. Good hard throw from Taylor as Greer just couldn't get there in time. He lost it by about a half step for out number 2.
Good heads-up base running by Dom Johnson. He was on second base, and usually on a ground ball to that left side, you freeze if you're on second, but he saw the high chopper in between short and third, recognizing that nobody would be able to cover the third base bag, and with his speed, he's in there easily at third. They waved him a little bit to take a turn, but a good, efficient throw by Taylor retires Greer, and there's 2 away.
Now Ryan Romano at the plate. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of Ks. As he watches that first one go by for strike 1. 0-1 the count. Breaking ball at 79 miles an hour coming in from Harrison. Harrison with the glove at his chest in the set. The pitch. It misses just high. It's going to bring the count even at 1-1. Romano out in the left-handed box. He's wearing a white sleeve all the way down his right arm as he swings and lofts that one out deep towards left field nearing the wall, and that is going to be brought in by Hall for out number 3. We head to the bottom half of the 6th. No runs come across for the Harbor Hawks, but they maintain that 2-0 lead heading in to the bottom of the 6th on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
held to right field. It is
Adios,
high,
amigo.
It is far, and it is gone.
Holy cow.
Zane Harris crushed that one.
A long drive towards right center field, and it's gone in the trees.
Hit from Braithwaite. Swung on and missed, and the ball game is over. The Harbor Hawks have defeated the DeCouta Cavaliers.
That one is a good long drive towards left field, and gone!
You're listening to the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Catcher number 26.
Harbor Hawks Baseball Network coming back for the bottom half of the 6th inning from Gov Fuller Field. Lincoln Revill alongside Austin DeCouta. As this is going to be Jonathan French starting us off, followed by Casey Harford and Luke Boyers. Jonas Scalaro back on the mound for his 6th inning of work.
He's been brilliant.
He has. The first time a Harbor Hawk pitcher has seen the 6th inning of play, a starting pitcher at least.
Scalaro had set the bar for the longest outing of the season for a Harbor Hawk. It was 5 innings, and then the next day Adrian Saravo matched him with 5 more. And then we saw last night Austin Wallace worked 5 in relief. So now Scalaro coming out for the 6th, a sight that we are yet to see for our starting pitcher.
And with Scalaro at the on the mound now, Saravo is set to start the game tomorrow. We'll see if he can go 6 innings after going 5 in his last outing, as the 1-1 misses just high. 2 balls and 1 strike now. There is some action now in the Harbor Hawks bullpen. I saw Pendleton start heading out towards, yep, there he goes, heading out towards the bullpen now.
He's the catcher. We'll see who's going to pitch to him. That was the 73rd pitch by Scalaro, so we'll see what the cap is on him tonight.
3-1 now the count. Hasn't allowed a runner on base since that 3rd inning of play. Since then, he's retired 8 straight. There's a 3-1 count to French. French actually the one batter that he's allowed on base. Pitch comes in, he fouls that one off, bringing the count now to full.
You can tell there's a game plan to be careful to French. With both of those homers on the season coming against Hyannis, he has hit the ball well against them.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to give French something that he can hit hard. He will make you pay for it. Count is full. Scalaro with his throwing hand down at his side. Glove hand at his face. Brings it in. Here's the payoff. Breaking ball just misses on the outside. That is ball 4. French allowed on base for the 2nd time tonight. For the only 2nd runner allowed on base from Scalaro.
Both by the walk.
The shortstop, number 24.
And both to Jonathan French on full counts.
He's definitely picking around the zone, not leaving anything to hit for French.
Which is probably wise. Of all the batters to walk for the Commodores, French is definitely the guy to walk.
Double play could be in order.
Scalaro now facing Casey Harford as this one goes way outside. Good stop from Proto, keeping French over at first. Harford, a new player for the Commodores, getting his first appearance of the season. As the 1-0 stays on the grass as that is fouled off. Count now at 1-1. Scalaro now in the stretch, the left-hander. Comes set. Proto set up on the outside. Pitch comes in. Finds the zone. Bring the count now to 1-2, says the scoreboard. My book had 2-1, so.
He fouled off a pitch. See where he goes here.
2-1, swung on. That's a high drive out towards left field. That's going to be Johnson coming in and making the grab for out number 1.
Good call by Johnson to call off the shortstop, Kyle Ball. It's always tougher when you're going back into the outfield to make a catch, and Johnson very vocal and takes care of that.
So with 1 away, a runner on first. You know, this is exactly identical to the start of the 3rd inning, except for the fact that Michael Curiali started off that 3rd inning, but since in that 3rd, French walked, and then Casey Harford with a fly out to left. And then in that third inning, Luke Boyers ended the third with a strikeout. We'll see what happens here. He shows bunt, tries to go for it, but he can't find it. That is strike one. Count goes to 0-1 with one away. Boyers 0 for 2 on the night with a pair of strikeouts. One by way of the swing and one by way of watching it. The backwards K and forwards K. The 0-1 finds the outside of the zone. 0-2 now the count. Now with one away here in the sixth, that is officially the longest outing for Jonas Scalaro and for the Harbor Hawks this season. Big achievement for Scalaro, the second time he has achieved that. The 0-2, breaking ball, just missing up high. A beautiful looking pitch at 75, and Scalaro, not sure where that one missed. He gives a signal to the umpire like, what are you doing? A beautiful pitch, but just missing up high.
That was one of the best pitches he's thrown tonight. That one just came right over the middle of the plate. Maybe, I mean, you could say it maybe came across a little high. That's the only.
Yeah. Still a magnificent pitch. Now with the 1-2. Fastball, that one. Actually another breaking ball, missing.
Looked like a fastball, but it says
did.
79 on the board. It did come out of his hand relatively quickly.
Yeah. I think that, I don't know. Usually the speed guns here are usually pretty reliable. Must have been a hanging breaking ball as the 2-2 comes in. Called strike 3 at the knees.
I think that's a makeup
It
call.
might have
there.
been a makeup call, yeah. That one was a little bit low. Boyers didn't like it at all. But that is strike 3. Boyers with the hat trick now. 3 strikeouts on the night as Braden Taylor comes to the plate with 2 away.
It's a good pitch, but it wasn't exactly where Scalaro wanted. He wanted a little bit up.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
More at the knees rather than the mid-shin. So I think a little bit of a makeup call maybe.
A little bit,
I mean,
yeah.
he had the breaking ball right down the middle, but Scalaro will be happy. That's 2 away.
I will say that breaking ball that comes in right at the chest, it can be hard to judge sometimes if you're the umpire. Count now at 0-1 to Taylor. Taylor's at 0 for 2. Lots of 0 for 2s for the Commodores. We'll just say that. Taylor has gone down by way of the flyout and the strikeout. Here's the 0-1. A long drive out towards right field. That's going to be Elliott coming back towards the wall. That's going to drop and one hop off the wall. That's going to be extra bases. That's going to be French pulling towards third. The throw home is not in time. And the Commodores on the board as French comes in all the way from first on that RBI double from Braden Taylor. And that is the first hit of the game for the Commodores.
Well, the no-hitter is over, but Jonas Scalaro, 5 2/3, no-hit innings. He was just sensational. He still is, just 1 run allowed on 1 hit. I mean, nothing to complain about there. He's been phenomenal. And now you're looking to get out of this inning. He had a pitch that Taylor, fastball up in the zone that Taylor got the barrel out in front on. You have Jace Borfin, a lefty, coming up here. He's retired him twice in this game. Can strand that tying run at second.
Borfin had that strikeout in the 4th. One of 6 straight strikeouts that Scalaro had, spanning from the end of the 3rd all the way to the 2nd out in the 5th.
Nolan Crisp has begun to warm up in the Harbor Hawks bullpen just past the third base dugout.
Now, unless I'm mistaken, I think Crisp actually made an appearance the last time at Gov Fuller Field. I'm going to check that real quick.
Scalaro behind 1-0. We'll see if he goes with a fastball, but he can't be too predictable here. I like his breaking ball that he throws for strikes.
And Crisp did not make an appearance against the Commodores last time. He came actually the next game, that Friday game against the Wareham Gatemen, as he relieved Adrian Saravo. Count now at 1-1 strike to Jace Borfin. Borfin with a fly out to right in the first inning that ended the first. Scalaro with the 1-1. He takes a look over at second. Kicks and comes home. Grounded over towards short. It's going to be picked up by Ball. The long throw from the gap is in time. Harris with the grab as that ends the 6th. And the Commodores cut the lead in half, now trailing 2-1. Harborhawks coming up to the plate after this.
I'm Hunter Furtado, number 5, left-hand pitcher from Wake Forest.
I'm Austin Wallace, number 18, left-handed pitcher from the University of Texas.
And you're listening to
the HarborHawks Baseball Network.
Jonathan French just threw down as we get ready to start the 7th inning of play. Before we get started, a quick word from Milton Cat. For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit miltoncat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. You know, those Cat instruments, actually, those Cat machines, very reliable machines from what I know about them. We use Cat every once in a while back in Texas. My grandparents own a little bit of land, have a little ranch of their own, and whenever we do some mass yard work, we actually bring out some of those big machines, do a little work for a couple days.
Lincoln the landscaper?
I am, yeah, a little bit in my free time. Call me for all of your landscaping needs. The 0-1 hit over towards short. That's going to be picked up by Hartford. The throw to first is in time. That is going to be Ryan Proto going down for out number 1.
Hit the ball hard on the ground again. Proto with a hit on the night and 2 groundouts to short. He's making a lot of contact. Speaking of contact, here comes Clark Elliott.
Yeah, Proto, although he's 1 for 3 on the night, he's found contact 3 times, all 3 at bats, has a single and has a fielder's choice and a ground out. Now Clark Elliott at the plate, who's 2 for 3 on the night, a pair of singles. Also had a hard hit ground ball that was scooped up by Armstrong back in the first to start the game off.
Added a stolen base as well as playing a good game out in right field. He does a little bit of everything on a daily basis, and they found their leadoff hitter. He's found his swing, he's adjusted, and he's made a home in that leadoff spot.
Ball misses down low. 2-0 now the count. Clark Elliott sporting another solid colored bat. That one all, what would you call that color? It's off-white. I don't know what you'd call that color.
I mean, it's kind of the color of like tree wood, just wood color. I
guess.
It's
like the whenever you see like in cartoons, it's like that color. 2-0 lofted out towards center field. That's going to be Boyers coming under to make that grab for out number 2. Elliott down to 2 for 4 now.
Just got under that one a bit. Some loud contact on it, but unfortunately didn't get enough of it. Elliott shattered one of his bats. I think it was last night. He shattered he had one that was all black.
Ended up splitting it in half.
There was a couple of those that just exploded. They were picking up shards of bat all over the infield at McKeon Park.
And with 2 away, Caden Rose now at the plate. Rose at 1 for 3, a flyout, ground out, and a single to his name.
He's in center field tonight, but had started the previous 2 games at second base. We've seen him at shortstop and right field as well. He says he's a ball player. He doesn't have a position, but he is a baseball player. So he can do everything.
That's the mindset that I like to hear. You're not confined to one position. You can go anywhere the team needs you. That's a team player.
Especially in 2021 where guys play 3 to 4 positions at once. It's very rare that somebody plays one position anymore at the MLB level.
Yeah, now, once again, we have seen as that one's grounded over towards third. That's going to be the high throw from Taylor. It is not in time as that brought Armstrong off the bag and gave Caden Rose time to find base safely. As that's going to go down as probably an E5. We'll check and make sure.
Rose does run well, but I think he would have had him on a good throw, and it is an E5. They've made it official on the scoreboard.
So the first error of the game goes to the Commodores as Caden Rose now reaches on an error. That brings Luke Mann to the plate. Now, as I was saying, you mentioned most players don't play more than 3 or 4 positions at a time. We have seen, I already forgot, we talked about him before, but that one person from the majors that played all 9 positions.
It was Andrew Romine.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, played all 9 positions in one game.
I think it's so tough, guys who play third can play first. But I think it's so hard for an outfielder to come play middle infield. Like Whit Merrifield on the Royals can do it, but you go from playing the outfield to trying to turn double plays. I think that's the hardest transition, and Caden Rose does it. He comes in from center field and plays second base or shortstop and has quick enough hands to turn double plays still, which is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
If you do it wrong, if you're on that backstone, you can get taken out on a slide pretty easily and get injured. And you have to know what you're doing.
It's no small feat to come in from the infield or outfield and strap on the catcher's gear and step behind the plate and take a 93, 94 mile an hour fastball and try to catch that out of the air.
Caden hasn't done that yet, but I'm
Not
sure
yet.
he'd be up for that opportunity if needed. There is action in the Commodore bullpen. Another right-hander getting loose as Nolan Crisp still throws in the Harbor Hawk bullpen.
Now, as we saw, another hard transition would be from infield position to the pitcher, as we saw Luke Mann do a couple of nights ago.
Yeah, he started the game too, so he wasn't exactly just, not in the lineup and knew he was going to that game pitching. He had an idea he might be pitching coming up, and then all of a sudden things didn't go well, and Mann found himself on the mound and he was good.
He was, and I talked to Gary Calhoun after that game, and he said we can expect to see Mann on the mound again as he chops that one a high chopper over towards first base. Going to be picked up by Armstrong, and he'll step on the bag for the last out. That's going to end the top of the seventh inning stretch. Coming up, Harbor Hawks maintaining that 2-1 lead on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Hi, my name is Marcos Pujols. I'm the first baseman for the Harbor Hawks. You're listening to the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Batting for the Commodores,
New pitcher on the mound for the Harbor Hawks here for the 7th, as Jonas Scalaro's night is done. A phenomenal outing from him, but now it's time for Nolan Crisp to take his turn on the mound as he brings that first pitch home to Christopher Armstrong. And that one is swung on and fouled off for strike 1. Armstrong is at 0 for 2. Fly out and a strikeout to his name.
Now we mentioned how Scalaro has a nice scoreless streak going. Nolan Crisp comes into the ball game with 4 1/3 scoreless innings consecutive. He's been great. Fired 3 innings against Bourne on July 12th. No runs, just 1 hit allowed, and then 1 1/3 at Bourne on the 14th. Got out of a bases loaded jam. Just 1 hit in that ball game as well. Crisp is finding his groove.
Count at 1-2. Swung on, and that's lofted out towards right field. That's going to be Elliott making that grab out for out number 1. So now to the F9 put out for those of y'all keeping score in your scorebooks at home. That brings Taylor Smith to the plate. 0 for 2 on the night. Back-to-back strikeouts for Smith. Listed as the DH tonight, but we've seen him at catcher as well as he steps into that right-handed box. Sporting those printed stirrups that we talked about earlier. Now first pitch from Crisp. Finds the zone for strike 1. 0-1 now the count.
He has a good fastball. It's more location than speed with him. I think he sits around 91, 92, but he can really pinpoint it.
Yeah, just more proof. Scalaro was also proof of the fact that you don't have to have speed to be an effective and really a very good pitcher here in the Cape League.
Yeah, that's what the bench coach, B.J. Johnson, said too, talking to him about Scalaro, how you don't have to throw 94 and blow guys away. Like, sure, at the major league level, that's what the kind of the trend is, but you can be effective, you can be a great pitcher and only hit 90 and pinpoint your way around the zone, but still get strikeouts. He's not just inducing weak contact, but he's also striking guys out.
Yeah, and they're also kind of disrupting the trend that I've heard a lot of pitching coaches say, that in order to get to a D1 level team, you have to throw at least 90. And for these pitchers that throw 90 at most, they're really changing that trend. There's lots of collective oohs from the Commodore dugout as that one is flown into the crowd. Brings the count back to 1-2 to Taylor Smith. Another pitcher already getting warmed up out there in the bullpen for the Harbor Hawks. As trying to get that name here for y'all real quick. I'm not seeing him on my roster. That one's lofted. That's going into right field as well. Elliott diving play. He can't make it. That rolls underneath him. Almost a fantastic play. But Taylor Smith reaching with a single with one away now.
Good effort by Elliott, but unfortunately it falls, and he's got to bounce back, try to get the next guy.
Anthony Hall.
Now Anthony Hall at the plate. Hall also sporting the printed stirrups as he steps into the left-handed box. Line out and a strikeout to his name. Pitch comes in. That one finds the zone from Crisp for strike 1. A very crisp fastball there. Oh, 1 to count. Breaking ball. Beautiful pitch there. Swing and a miss from Hall. 0-2 the count. And Jonas Scalaro with a fantastic outing to start the game off. And now Crisp with a little bit of a bussin' outing from himself tonight. The 0-2, throw to first, not in time. The 0-2 just missing up high. A great frame job from Proto. You might say that frame job was bussing as well. But now with the count at 1-2. Crisp in the set from the stretch. He comes home. Chopped, and that's fouled straight behind home plate, right underneath us, actually. That's going to bring the count to 1-2. Crisp, his legs facing the Harbor Hawks dugout, turned at his waist, facing home plate. He comes set now with the 1-2. Popped and fouled. That's going to head out of play as well. Another great battle here from Anthony Hall with the count remaining at 1-2. Crisp looking for that second put out here in the 7th. Harbor Hawks with a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning. Harbor Hawks with 2 runs on 7 hits and no errors as that one gets past Proto. He can't find it. That's going to allow Smith to reach second safely as the Commodores find another runner in scoring position.
Tough
with
pitch
one
to
away.
block. Really tough pitch to block there by Proto. He at least kept it in front of him and hits off of him, but once it kicks up in the air like that, you have no shot at getting the guy advancing.
Two and 2 the count. Anthony Hall out in left field for the Commodores tonight. Sporting the 35 maroon letter, or maroon numbers, I should say. As the 2-2 is ripped down the first base line, just foul. Would have been extra bases and definitely an RBI. But instead we'll stay at 2-2. A very fortunate drop for the Harbor Hawks.
That was foul by a good 10 feet. I think the dugout of the Commodores, I don't know if they were being sarcastic or just chirping at the umpire a bit. I'm saying that was fair, but yeah, it was a good 10 feet foul.
Yeah, it was. It was a good hot shot, though, as the 2-2 from Crisp is on its way. Chopped over towards second. That's going to be Romano throwing it over to first for out number 2. Meanwhile, Taylor Smith advances over to third, now 90 feet away from tying the game here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
I'd like to keep him there. Big at-bat upcoming.
And for this big at-bat, the pressure is on for Michael Curiali. Curiali at 0 for 2 as well. Strikeout and then a flyout over to over to first, that is, from Zane Harris. And in that inning with the flyout back in the 5th, Jonas Scalaro was back on the mound. Scalaro had 1 ball in that entire inning, and that ball was to Michael Curiali before he ended up flying out to first.
He was terrific all night. Back-to-back scoreless, or one run came across, but before that he had thrown 5 scoreless innings in this start. He thrown 5 scoreless in the previous start and a couple of scoreless relief innings. He's only allowed 2 runs now on the season, has Scalaro. Just a terrific start to his Cable League career.
0-2 now the count from Crisp. Looking for his first strikeout of this outing. Here's the 0-2. Just up high near the letters.
Not a bad idea there by Crisp. Try to get him to chase a high fastball, and now 1-2, maybe you go back to the breaking ball, try to get a strike around the knees.
That fastball to some hitters looks like a nice little dish of Grandma's mashed potatoes. As that pitch comes in, misses down low, which evens the count at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. The hat doesn't come out as the Harbor Hawks are in the field. Here's the tiebreaker. Breaking ball chopped over towards short. That's going to be picked up by Ball. The long throw over to first is in time. The lead is saved as the Harbor Hawks maintain that 2-1 lead heading to the 8th on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
that ball well to right field. It is
Adios,
high,
amigo.
It is far, and it is gone.
Holy cow.
Zane Harris crushed that one.
A long drive towards right center field, and it's gone in the trees.
Pitch from Braithwaite. Swung on and missed, and the ball game is over. The Harbor Hawks have defeated the DeCouta Cavaliers.
That one is a good long drive towards left field, and gone!
You're listening to the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Harbor Hawks Baseball Network coming from Gov Fuller Field, home of the Falmouth Commodores. Lincoln Revill alongside Austin DeCouta here as Zane Harris digs in to start us off here in the 8th. Harbor Hawks up 2-1. Harris, through 3 at-bats, stands 0 for 3. Ground out, fly out, and a strikeout so far to his line. Count goes to 1-0 now. Harris in the left-handed box. Called strike brings the count even at 1-1. Harris from Wright State. 6'5", 260 pounds, a massive left-handed hitter. Takes a heavy hack there. Count moves to 1-2. Zane Harris, Kyle Ball, and Dom Johnson. The next 3 up. Kyle Ball and Dom Johnson, the 2 runs on the board for the Harbor Hawks due to a 2-run home run from Dom Johnson back in the 2nd inning. Since then, all zeros across the board for the Harbor Hawks. The Commodores, all zeros up until that 6th inning of play, and then Jonathan French ended up reaching home on a 2-out double from Braden Taylor, and we saw some speed from Jonathan French coming home all the way from first.
Harbor Hawks would love to add a run here. Let your pitchers breathe a bit. Nolan Crisp did a good job holding the lead in the 7th. We'll see if he's back for the 8th. He hasn't worked since the 14th, so it's been a couple days.
1-2 chopped up the middle. That's going to be picked up by Curiali. He can't get it as that one falls past him. Zane Harris reaching base safely. That'll probably go down as an E4. We'll see the official call.
It's a slow chopper, and he tried to backhand it and rush his throw. It is an E4.
2nd error on the night for the Commodores.
Now batting the shortstop.
A solid defensive game for the Harbor Hawks tonight. No errors so far. 2 runs on 7 hits. The Commodores with 1-2-2. 1 run, 2 hits, and 2 errors. New pitcher for the Commodores on the mound. That's Dalton Smith. Now on the rubber. Smith, 6'1", 210 pounds, coming from Georgia Tech. Pitch now 2 balls and no strikes to Kyle Ball. Ball reached a base once in the 2nd, of course, as he reached home on that home run. Since then, went down with a drop 3rd strike and almost was able to reach base in the 6th inning. After that ball, he hit back up the middle, went off the glove of Charles Harrison. It was picked up by Curiali, who ended up throwing it to first just in time. Now Smith with the 2-1. That's up high. 3 balls and 1 strike to count. The 3-1 from Smith. Line back up the middle. That's going to drop for a base hit in the right center gap. That's going to be picked up by Boyers as Zane Harris reaches 3rd safely. Runners on the corners now for Dom Johnson now. I saw Mason Greer on deck. I didn't see Johnson move up, but Johnson now at the plate. Mason Greer is on deck.
Well, a great piece of hitting there by Kyle Ball to pick up a single, and he took that ball to the right center field gap and just reached out and got it in front of the plate and didn't try to do too much. Guys will try to pull a lot of pitches sometimes, but Kyle Ball, another guy who takes the ball to the opposite field very well. And with nobody out, you have an insurance run on 3rd base. You got to do what you can to get him in. He'll even take a double play if it means the run comes in.
Yeah, runner on 3rd with no outs. Just put the ball in play here, and Zane Harris can find his way home.
I'd expect Kyle Ball might be in motion too. We've already stolen 3 bases in this game, so if they send the ball, I would not be surprised.
Now Johnson, in his last appearance after that home run, tried to show a bunt. Tried to take the Commodores defense by surprise. First throw from Smith is over to first.
And they're well aware that ball does pose a stolen base threat.
Able to sneak around that tag at second base, almost like a secret agent. Bunt shown, he pulled it back as that one dropped low for ball one. And you know, of course, Ball, as we mentioned earlier with that stolen base, I mentioned he looked like a secret agent. Some might say he looked kind of like, I don't know, Perry the Platypus maybe? Secret agent from my favorite childhood show, personally, Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
Count now,
I don't
1
know
and
if
1.
anyone would say he looked like that, but
I don't know. That's the first secret agent that came to mind, you know. Now James Bond, of course, but I don't know. The 1-1 breaking ball that finds his own. 1-2 now the count.
he likes to hit that ball to right field a lot. He's already done it today. There is a good gap down the right field line and to right center.
That single that he had back in the 6th was out towards right field. Would have been a pretty routine play for Curiali, but for some reason Curiali was right on top of second base. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Dom Johnson. He just needs to put the ball in play here somehow. The 1-2. Breaking ball, called strike 3. Johnson goes down looking for out number 1. A beautiful breaking ball there from Dalton Smith, as that is his first strikeout of the evening.
Now batting the designated hitter, number 20, Mason.
And that's the first strikeout for the Commodores since the 5th. So they've been finding ways to hit the ball, put it in play. It's just a matter of reaching base safely at that point.
One away, you do want to avoid the double play. Kyle Ball may be off early in this count trying to swipe second base. But then again, Mason Greer does have a hit today.
Greer does have a hit. That hit coming.
Be careful.
Hit coming in the 4th. That single. Breaking ball. Ball down on the run.
Delayed steal. He didn't leave until that ball popped into the mitt really of French. He got a large secondary lead and then just took off, and that's huge. That is a huge stolen base for the Harbor Hawks because now a hard hit ground ball for an out may be able to bring the infield in, but still they have to bring the infield in, which means a hard hit ground ball is more likely to go through because you have less ground that you can cover.
He grounds that one down the first base side. That's going to go foul. Picked up by Armstrong. Count moves to 0-2 now. Smith, the right-hander. Infield up on the grass. Ball with a big lead over at second base. From our angle, he looks like he's behind Harford out at short. The 0-2, high chopper out towards second. That's going to be Curiali picking that one up. Throw to first is in time. Harris is going to have to stay at third. And with 2 away, Ryan Romano is going to step to the plate now.
Yeah, that's tough. The infield's in. A high chopper like that, somebody with more speed than Harris might go and attempt to get there. You might be in, but Harris not the fastest base runner, so not a bad decision not to go, I'd say.
No, yeah. Now, if he did choose to go home, if he did choose to run home, that ball was high enough that he would have been able to gain quite a bit of ground during that time, I think, and it would have caused Curiali to have to hustle his throw.
Would have been a close play.
Yeah. Curiali would have had to get that throw right on the money. He would have had to get it accurate while throwing it in a hurry, which is a pretty difficult play to make. The 1-0 now to Romano, misses inside. Count at 2-0 now with 2 away. Harbor Hawks looking to add on to that 2-1 lead. The 2-0. Lined and grounded. That's off of Taylor. And a run's going to come in. Harris scoring from third. as Romano comes in. He reaches first. It was a hard hit ball. It did go off the chest of Taylor, but we'll see what that one is scored. That's going to be scored as a hit. Romano now 1 for 4 on the night.
Big RBI there by Romano. That's a huge insurance run. Now you get 3. A chance to get a 4th run if you can bring home Kyle Ball, who stands at 3rd.
Ryan Proto at the plate. Runner goes. Romano coming down. Fake throw from French. Runner's back in scoring position now. A base hit from Proto could score 2. Proto has 1 base hit so far. That's single in the second.
9 hits for the Harbor Hawks tonight.
The Bats have come alive once again. The Bats have been active in the past handful of games for the Harbor Hawks, having over 5 hits in at least the last 4 games. The 1-1. Swing and a miss there from Romano. From Proto, that is. Romano at second now. Count moves to 1-2, 2 away.
Just got to put the ball in play here. Got good speed on second, too.
Grounded up the middle. That could get through. That's going to be trouble, and that's picked up by Harford. Throw to first. Gets away. Another run comes in. Here comes Romano from third as Ryan Proto reaches second. That scores 2 more runs for the Harbor Hawks.
That'll be a RBI single for Proto, and he gets to go to second. The second run comes home on an error as a throw gets away. So an error at short by Harford, but an RBI single for Proto on the first half of it. And another huge 2 runs there. 5-1. You can breathe just a bit. Not completely, not out completely, but you can at least take a little bit of a breath.
A fairly comfortable lead for the Harbor Hawks here in the 8th. 5-1 the score.
The right fielder, number 25, Clark.
Of course, we've seen from both sides of the spectrum this season just how quickly a big lead can be taken away. What makes baseball one of the greatest games, in my opinion. It's unpredictable, and unlike sports like football and basketball where you can run out the clock and keep the other team from making a comeback, in baseball you have to throw, as it said, you have to throw the ball across the plate and you have to give the other man his chance.
No running out the clock in baseball.
No time limits in college ball like in travel ball. Count it 0-1. Pitch comes in. That's fouled off. That's going to head out of play. Off the mask of French. My goodness, that one went quite a ways.
Almost had yourself a souvenir.
Yeah, almost. If that one would have landed inside the stadium here, I would have asked our producer Matt to go and sprint and grab that one for me. Or Taylor Farmer, our Sideline reporter, former collegiate volleyball player. Probably has some speed on her as that 0-2 misses outside. 1-2 now the count.
Tough pitch to take if you're Clark Elliott, but he has a good eye at the plate, good plate discipline to not chase, and now you're sitting 1-2. And Elliott has made contact in every at-bat tonight. Part of a 2-for-4 effort with a stolen base. We'll see if he can add on to that. There is a runner in scoring position, and Ryan Proto runs well for a catcher, so we'll see if they can add on.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count with 2 away. Pitch comes in, and that one misses. Evening the count at 2-2.
2-2, 2 away. No, the hat is retired.
Well, hey, remember we did a different thing the last time. We're going to go back to the Old Faithful. It's the Old Faithful way is 1 for 1.
I think it's like 30% on the year, though.
Probably. If it goes down, I'm retiring it. If this is out, I'm retiring it. Look at that. That stays alive.
Oh, yay.
All right, if it means that much to y'all, if it's just that big of a difference, if it's just that big of a deal, I'll retire the hat.
No, you can keep it.
It seems to be a liability for the past couple of games.
We'll see how it goes.
The payoff. Lofted, a deep drive out towards left field. That's Hall ranging back towards the foul line. He'll make the grab for out number 3. And that will end the top of the 8th. Harbor Hawks take a pretty comfortable lead, 5-1 the score, heading to the bottom half of the 8th on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Gary Calhoun. I'm the manager of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, and you're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Radio Network.
The Harbor Hawks Baseball Network coming up from Gov Fuller Field for the last inning and a half. Austin DeCouta and myself, Lincoln Revill, on the call. As we are here for the bottom half of the 8th, Jonathan French starting us off, Casey Harford on deck, and Luke Boyers will be in the hole. Nolan Crisp back on the mound as that first pitch hits French. As he reaches base for the 3rd time tonight after being hit by a pitch. And French has not registered an official at-bat yet, as he's been walked twice so far. Has now been hit by a pitch. He also was the only run for the Commodores coming across in the 6th. Now the Harbor Hawks, 5 runs on now double digits, 10 hits through 8 innings worth of at-bats. As that one heads into the crowd for strike 1. Good little souvenir for a young fan as the count moves to 0-1. Ripped down the third base line, just foul. Luke Mann now over at third in place of Mason Greer.
I don't think he's had a ball hit over there all night. He has not. There has not been a fair ball hit to Luke Mann in this entire game. Quiet night at third.
It is very quiet, yeah. That's an unusual thing. Usually we've seen a handful of balls hit over to the hot corner, but have yet to see that now. This one pops straight up. That's going to head out. That's going to head way into the trees just behind us here as that moves the count to 0-2 now. Hawks up 5-1 here in the bottom of the 8th. That one's ripped just past shortstop for a base hit. That's Harford rounding first now with runners on first and second. And Luke Boyers stepping up to the plate. Now Boyers with an interesting situation here, looking to avoid what's called the golden sombrero. Now the sombrero, where you go down 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. He has 3 on the night, so he's got the hat trick.
Mound visit here for Coach Korn. Going to talk to Nolan Crisp. It's allowed the first 2 guys to reach, and there is going to be action in the Harbor Hawk bullpen. We'll see who that is in a moment, but Crisp looking to work through this inning at least.
French and Harford now on first and second. The first time that back-to-back runners have reached base for the Commodores. We had 2 runners. This is also only the second time of the night that 2 runners have reached base at all during an inning for the Commodores, as back in the 6th, French came home, and then Braden Taylor hit him home on that double. The Commodores' hits have now matched their errors on the game as they're at 3 apiece. 1 run along with those 2 numbers. As Boyers is getting ready to go. Not sporting stirrups, but he's sporting the high pants with high maroon socks. Crisp with runners on first and second. He looks at second and then comes home. That one finds his own for strike 1.
That's a good spot. Inside corner at the knees, and see where Crisp goes here. Good mix of that fastball breaking ball.
Crisp
favored the fastball a little bit as of late.
Crisp from the stretch. The 0-1 popped up out towards short. That's going to be ball. Settling under it just at the edge of the infield, the back edge of the infield for out number 1 on the 8th.
Infield fly rule was called, and it's a big out number 1. If you're Nolan Crisp, you can breathe just a bit. Not yet. You have runners on first and second, but you can at least know you got the first one.
Yeah.
And that's an out you want, a harmless out. Doesn't leave the infield really. I mean, the outfield, the edge of the grass, but that doesn't allow any of the runners to advance, and the double play is still in order.
Infield fly rule in effect. Double play is also available at all 3 bags, so lots of ways to get those last 2 outs. Pitch comes in. Good stop from Proto. That one missing low and in. Count moves to 1-0 to Braden Taylor. And we're still looking for that first golden sombrero of the season, as Luke Boyers finishes with the hat trick, but ends up with an infield fly roll for that 4th at-bat. Here's the 1-0 from Crisp. Bouncing back up the middle. That's going to be Romano stepping on second for 1. Throw over to first is in time. A 4-3 putout. Romano can do it all as we head to the 9th. Harborhawks up 5-1 on the Harborhawks Baseball Network.
Hi, my name's Caden Rose. I'm an infielder for the Harborhawks, and you're listening to the Harborhawk Network.
The 9th inning coming up on the Harborhawk Baseball Network. Caden Rose, Luke Mann, and Zane Harris due up for the Harborhawks here in the 9th. Harborhawks maintaining that 5-1 lead heading into the last frame. Dalton Smith back on the mound as he brings that first pitch home. Ball 1 at 90 miles an hour. Rose has a single, and he's reached on an error tonight. He's one for 4 overall. That one finds the zone for strike 1. Count even at 1s now. Smith started the game back in, or started his outing, that is, back in the 8th. In that 8th inning, the Harborhawks ended up adding 3 runs to their 2-1 lead. Looking for their first win since actually the last time the Harborhawks were at Gov Fuller Field when we defeated the Commodores. The 2-2 lined out towards right. That's Borfin coming in and making the grab for out number 1.
Rose has been swinging the bat well the last couple of games, and fortunately just got under that one a little bit. See what Luke Mann can do. He's made some solid contact tonight.
Mann stepping up to the plate now for his 5th at-bat. He's 0 for 4 on the night with 2 flyouts, a groundout, and a strikeout. Pitch comes in, lines that one, and that is through for a base hit into left field. That's Hall coming up with it, and that is a 1-out single for Luke Mann, who's now 1 for 5.
Good piece of hitting by Mann. Doesn't try to pull that one, just takes it the other way. finds a gap and gets himself aboard with 1 out. You're up 5-1, but you would like to add another run. I mean, more is always good. You can never score too many runs.
Definitely not, especially like we've seen this season. Lots of 4-run, 5-run, even an 8-run lead was eventually ended, whether it was from the Harbor Hawks or to the Harbor Hawks.
Yeah, they came back down 8-0 against Harwich on Friday. They got it within 1, so they didn't complete the comeback. But, I mean, 15-12, it was almost a tie game so many times. They had the go-ahead run on the plate. That's a tough call.
Home plate umpire says yes, he did go, bringing the count to 1-1 now. Zane Harris at the plate. Harris reached on an error back in the 8th, and he also came home at that point. Count at 1-1. Pitch comes in. Big swing and a miss there. Brings the count to 1-2 now. Harris from Wright State in the left-handed box, sporting those orange Franklin batting gloves along with orange wrist tape on his left wrist. Called strike 3, breaking ball 79 miles an hour. Harris takes a deep breath and starts to walk back to the dugout with 2 away.
Yeah, tough pitch there. It was a little bit outside. The strike zone's been a little bit wider tonight, I'd say. But it's been consistent on both sides. Just a larger strike zone.
Definitely a pitcher-friendly strike zone with those extra couple of inches. Now it's going to bring up Kyle Ball. Kyle Ball at short. Seen a couple of good plays from him tonight. He stands 1 for 3 on the night. Has a strikeout, a ground out, and a single in the 8th. Here's the 1-0. That finds the zone. Count evens out to 1-1. Looking ahead for the Harbor Hawks as that one swung on and missed. 1-2 now the count. Harbor Hawks now at Falmouth. We're going to be facing the Orleans Firebirds at home tomorrow. On Tuesday, we're going to be facing the Wareham Gatemen at home. And then we have back-to-back games on Tuesday and Wednesday with the Gatemen also on Wednesday. That one, a chopper over towards short. Hartford going to pick that one up. The long throw over to first. A hard one is in time for out number 3. A good throw there from Hartford. That ends the top half of the 9th. But before we head to the bottom half of the 9th inning, we're going to toss it on down to our sideline reporter, Taylor Farmer. Taylor, what's the update?
Thank you, Lincoln. I heard Coach Calhoun yelling to his guys earlier to want the ball out there. And I think that's important heading into the bottom of this 9th inning, that they do want the ball out there and are confident to make the play. It'd be great if Chris gets 3 strikeouts here, but if not, he needs to know that his players behind him are ready to make a play and confident in doing that.
Right you are, Taylor, and we're going to take a quick break before that bottom half of the 9th inning comes up. We'll be right back on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
Hi, my name is Gary Calhoun. I'm the manager of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, and you're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Radio Network.
Lincoln Revill and Austin DeCouta bringing you this bottom half of the 9th inning. Last chance for the Commodores, down 5-1 to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. As Jace Borfin is going to start us off. Christopher Armstrong behind him, and Taylor Smith will be in the hole. Nolan Crisp back on the mound, looking to finish this game off. So he brings that first pitch home, 1-0 the count. There is some action in the Harbor Hawks bullpen. just in case they're needed. We'll see who that new pitcher is here in a bit. The 1-0 misses low for ball 2. Borfin at 0 for 3. Fly out, ground out, and strikeout. Not in that order. And fly out in the first, strikeout in the fourth, and a ground out in the 6th. Count at 2-0. Pitch comes in from Crisp. Check swing, called strike anyway, bringing the count to 2-1.
This is Nolan Crisp's third inning of work. If he can complete it and the Harbor Hawks can get out of here with a win, he will get a save credited to him.
That one chopped over towards short. That's going to be picked up by Ball. Long throw to first is in time. Good stretch from Harris for out number 1.
That's such a great play at short by Kyle Ball. That one took a little bit of a hop on him at the end, but he still gloves it, makes a strong throw, and a great stretch by Zane Harris. And one away here, Lincoln.
One away, 2 outs to get for the Harbor Hawks. Trying to break quite the losing skid.
They've come close before, but we'll see if they can do it here.
Lofted into left. That's heading towards foul territory. The trio of Mann, Ball, and Johnson heading towards it, but no one can get to it. That goes foul.
Johnson ran up the hill, ended up in the woods. He lost his hat about 50 yards back on the field, as did somebody lost their sunglasses or something fell off, but I think everybody's grabbed their belongings. Good effort, though. That's what you want to see.
There's a rabbit running across the infield now. He's stopped down the third base line, taking a little bit of a breather.
Where did they come from?
We'll see where he comes from. Yeah, he just came out of nowhere. He was running over towards short. They're going to stop the game real quick as our new guest is still on the edge of the grass. Oh, they're going to go ahead and let it go now.
I saw something move. I thought it was something that fell off somebody's person, but eventually, I guess it was a rabbit running around.
At first, I thought it was like a napkin or something like that, but it's a little rabbit. He's running on towards the grass. Get out of here, little buddy. You don't want to get a foul ball. We can't have anybody getting injured out here as the 0-2 falls down low. Good stop from Proto.
He's plopped himself a front row seat down there.
He has the best seat in the house. Trying to imitate the third base coach for the Commodores.
Crisp, the 1-2. See if he goes back with that fastball. Try to blow him away.
1-2. That is a fastball at 87. Lofted into foul territory once again. The rabbit running away as Luke Mann comes over. And he can't make the grab.
He almost ran over the rabbit. They got to get that thing off the field.
Yeah, the rabbit moving out. Oh, there he goes. Off the warning track, through the Harbor Hawks bullpen and out into the wilderness. So long, buddy. It's been fun.
Call that the good luck rabbit.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Who was it? Was it Auburn that had like the squirrel or something like that? Or?
I know the Royals had like a praying mantis, and the Phillies had like a bamboo plant once.
This one hit over to second. Romano tossed it over to first for out number 2. Armstrong goes down with a 4-3 putout as Taylor Smith comes up. Final out for the Harbor Hawks, hopefully here soon, as Nolan Crisp looks for his first save of the season.
Yeah, the rare 3-inning save. That happens, you come into a ballgame, no matter the score, you work 3 innings to finish it off. You get a save for your team. Only seen it a couple times. Saw it once when the Phillies were playing the Marlins, and I forget who the reliever was, but they came in and pitched 3 innings, and the score was like 15-1. They got a save for it.
Wow. I thought there was like a, I don't know, for some reason I thought there was like a run margin.
Well, there is typically, unless you pitch 3 innings. So, like, if it's if you're coming on for any other situation, if it's 3 or less, it's a save. But unless you pitch 3 innings consecutively to end the game, then it's a save for you.
That's interesting.
It's a very rare occurrence, but if you can go 3 consecutive to shut down the ball game, then that's a save.
Count now at 1-1. Smith, 1 for 3, had a single in his last appearance, but he's been fanned twice. Crisp looking for his first strikeout. And only strikeout, hopefully. As we're trying to get that final out here. 1-1. Crisp comes home. That finds the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
1 strike away for the Harbor Hawks for snapping the skid, getting back in the win column. An all-around great performance so far.
Harbor Hawks, their last win against the Commodores a couple of weeks ago. Crisp from his wind-up position. The 1-2. Grounded and fouled. going to bring the count back to 1-2. Final strike to get here for Crisp. A big at bat here. Crisp with a heavy breath. He's trying to get the sign from Proto. Proto lets him know what pitch he wants. Crisp likes it. Digs in and comes home. The 1-2 fouled off. Will stay at 1 ball and 2 strikes. 77 miles an hour on the breaking ball.
He's gone back to that pitch multiple times. His fastball tonight's been around 88. Hasn't been able to sneak it by the hitters, but he's been effective with its location. We'll see if he goes back to the breaking ball one more time. It seems to be his favorite pitch of the evening.
1 ball and 2 strikes remains the count. Another encore on the way from Crisp. Sporting a silver necklace on the mound as he comes home. Misses up high, 2-2 now the count.
Yeah, 88 again on the fastball, just couldn't blow it by him.
Crisp looking for that final strike. Final put out here. The 2-2. Popped up and fouled. That's going to head out of play. Quite a battle brewing here between Smith and Crisp.
Smith does not want to go home. He keeps fighting off everything Nolan Crisp throws his way. A couple of breaking balls fouled back, a fastball taken, and he's really putting up a good fight.
Yeah, I have to say, on Smith's part, I do understand. No one wants to be that final out in any game. So he's trying to battle here, trying to keep this inning going for the Commodores. Count at 2-2, 2 away. The tiebreaker just misses low. 3 balls and 2 strikes to count.
Good idea, but he couldn't get Smith to take, and he's really seen the ball well out of Crisp's hand.
Smith has fought back from a 1-2 count. Now count at 3-2. 3-2, the payoff from Crisp. Called strike 3, the streak is over. And the Harbor Hawks have defeated the Falmouth Commodores for the second time tonight. Caden Rose with the Rocky pose out in center field as the team gathers near second base for those post-game handshakes that we love to see. And Austin, just overall, from every aspect from the Harbor Hawks tonight, a fantastic game against the Commodores tonight.
5-1 the final, 11 hits. The offense was alive and well. Dom Johnson, a 2-run home run, and Jonas Scalaro with his second straight dominant start for the Harbor Hawks. He was perfect and allowed just the 1 run. Nolan Crisp comes on and shuts the door the last 3 innings, gets himself a save, and an all-around great performance for Hyannis.
Jonas Scalaro and Nolan Crisp, the dynamic duo from the game tonight. And join us again tomorrow night on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network as we go back home to battle the Orleans Firebirds. That'll be once again tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. But for now, for our Director of Broadcasting, Harrison Meyers, our producer, Matt Noah, our sideline reporter, Taylor Farmer, and my broadcast partner, Austin DeCouta, I'm Lincoln Revill saying so long from Gov Fuller Field. Hawks win. Good night, and God bless.